friends, how are you today? Okay, today's gonna be a fun one. Been looking for this one for a little bit. But first off, welcome to MarkTalk. I'm your host, Mark Levy, and I'm here to have with you a really good time. If this is your first time at MarkTalk, welcome. It's a show that I do several times a week: Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. A little bit different this week, but we'll get to there later. But on Mondays, it's a Miscellaneous show. I kind of like to think of it like anything can happen variety show. Anything can happen. Previous weeks, I've had a couple different segments with friends of mine. Today, since I've been feeling kind of down as an actor recently and haven't really acted since March, really, honestly, if you really want to get really honest with it. But excuse me there. I figured it would be best to do the show that I've been supposed to tour for most of the year, which is Blockbuster Guy. I won an award at the Fringe Festival in Arch for it, for the audience award. It was a huge hit. Lots of tickets sold. Sold out a lot of shows. What I'm about to do for you today is sort of the show. I'll be reading the text for you, like performing as best I can, honestly. It's not been rehearsed. This all came about this weekend because I've been feeling pretty down on myself because trying to hunt for jobs and everything. But if you'd like to donate to this production, you can. You'll see on the scroller after a little intro video while I change it to costume ways you can donate to the production, and it goes back to us, the artists. Also, letting you know the show's vulgar. If you're offended by me cursing, I'm sorry. You're tuning into the wrong channel. I'm really excited. And also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, you can. We're also now on Twitch, which is pretty cool. That started today. But yeah, mainly YouTube will be the main way to get in touch with the show. But I'm going to, we have a long one today, so I'm going to let's just get started, okay? And I'll see you guys about 45 seconds. Disclaimer, first off, thank you for coming. This means a lot to me that you guys are here. Always happy to do this show. Haven't done it in a bit because of the way things have been. But if you want to help the show or help me, as you're probably aware, I'm a broken furloughed actor. There's a couple of ways that you'll be able to see to donate to the show. All the money will go directly to people I've worked on the show, myself, director, etc. And yeah, also I know this, as you heard me say before this, the show is unrehearsed today. I'm literally reading from the script, but trying to remember as much as I can. And that's the magic of theater. I hope you guys have a great day and enjoy the show. I am a movie nerd. I have been my whole life, will be for my whole life. Will honestly be shocked if when I die, I am not a movie nerd. Honestly, if I go to the great Alanis Morris in the sky, she tells me that I am no longer a movie nerd, I will be in shock. These are just the given circumstances of who I am and who you're about to listen to for the next hour or so. I, Mark Levy, am a full-fledged movie nerd. Have been my whole life. Love them all. Love most. I love film. I love movies that have no idea how amazing they are. I love movies that have no idea how terrible they are. I love film. I love watching DCP, digital images projected up on the screen. I love watching like a crackly old 16 millimeter film where you just see like that pink and all that horrible weirdness. I don't love IMAX because the size gives me anxiety. But we'll get there. But honestly, I don't know where to start the show, so I figured I might as well start that way, okay? I've got an idea. I can start off with a recommendation. Miami Connection. It is this 1980s flop about guys who do taekwondo in Orlando and have a ninja-themed rock band who fight ninjas on motorcycles who deal cocaine. And the music's amazing. Friends for eternity, loyalty, honesty, we'll be together, thick or thin. Friends forever, we'll stay together. We're on top because we play to win. And it is honestly perfect. Don't believe me? Reach out to me after you watch it. My information is super easy to get a hold of. Okay, so let's just get this out of the way immediately. I worked for Blockbuster Video in college in a small town, Palatka, Florida. If you were looking at a map of Florida, you would see StreamYard backwards. You would see that Orlando's roughly in the middle. Jacksonville somewhere about here. St. Augustine's around there. And in the middle of nowhere, Palatka, Florida. That's where I went to college. And most of my time working there, living there, I worked for Blockbuster Video. And the town was so small that most people came to Blockbuster on a Friday night to rent movies. And when I was not Blockbuster, actually trying to live my life, people would if I was like a Crystal or God forbid a Walmart, someone would inevitably stop me on the street and say, "Hey, ain't you Blockbuster Guy?" I start the show that way because it is important to know the names that you're given and the titles that you choose. Some people do things to escape. I never was treated badly by my family or anything like that. My family is amazing and have always been, and I was relentlessly bullied during elementary school and middle school until I found my tribe, the theater nerds. I knew I loved movies so young, so very, very young. I distinctly remember feeling love for them as early as kindergarten. I'd see everything that I could. And it would transport me to another world where I felt cool, I could fit in. And I'd say it would be the things that got me through my earliest years. Okay, so for the next part of the show, what I would like to do is use your imagination. Not everyone is super tuned into their imagination, but that is why I am here. Okay, I'll try my best to get things going, but think of this as a guided meditation, if you will, or just and a journey to the subconscious if you're a younger viewer. Also, letting you know, I don't have too much experience doing this, especially over webcam. So I apologize if I open up any portals into your brain. But that's exciting. You come to see a show and you get your brain open to new portals. That's exciting, right? Okay, cool. So close your eyes. You are in your parents' car. And it's 1995, and it is a Friday night. You are 10 years old, and not the coolest person out there, and all of your friends are actually hanging out with their real friends because it is a Friday night, and you're alone in the back seat of your parents' car. You're driving on the main drag of the city, and you listen to the radio, and your parents are babbling, but you're just so unbelievably excited about what's going to happen in the next few minutes. You're playing with Ninja Turtle, and then your parents turn and swing into the McDonald's drive-thru, and you get your usual kids meal. You smell the fries, and then you sneak a fry without your parents looking. They turn out the corner, and right next to that McDonald's is your happy place. Blockbuster Video. Your parents pull up and you get out of the car and you're running and you hear the sounds of a Blockbuster. The smell hits you like a wall of clean, weird, plasticky goodness. Like clinical and plastic. And you get to the new release wall and you can choose anything you want. But it has to be rated G. Or PG, and it has been the kids section. Open your eyes. Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I saw this movie too young, way too young, way too young. I was born in August 1985. The movie came out in theaters when I believe I saw this while I was in theaters, still summer of 1985. My earliest memories are the clown surgery scene, which is probably why I was scared of clowns from an early age. This, my whole life, has been the truth that I've been told and have thought. Part of me is convinced that is also a myth. But part of me does wonder, do my parents want to see this kind of kids movie so badly that they would take this see their infant child and it would shape them for better or for worse. I do know for an actual fact that I was raised on Rocky Horror Picture Show. There's like no myth here. My parents used to be part of this thing called Pasta Club, where they would go to a friend's house, eat pasta, and watch Rocky Horror Picture Show. This would happen quite often. They would go to a friend's house, eat pasta, watch Rocky Horror Picture Show. Some of my earliest memories are of watching Tim Curry shimmy in a corset and murder multiple people, and some of them being from transsexual Transylvania. Rocky Horror Picture Show is still one of my favorite movies. I was raised in a fairly normal home. I am an only child, and my parents got married a little bit older, and they were married for 7 years before I was born. There was and is still so much love in my family, in my household, for my parents and me to them. It's kind of like a weird, kind of perfect triangle of love situation. And they know pretty much almost every detail in this whole show. They also supported my love of seeing movies from a young age, whether it was seeing forgotten gems like Space Invaders, classics like Ernest Goes to Jail, or perfect films like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. My family always took me to see it, normally in theaters, as long as it was G or PG, until I was 9 years old. Seriously, I was only allowed to see G or PG movies until I was 9, except for Rocky Horror Picture Show or Blues Brothers. My dad was into Blues Brothers at an early age, and it's still one of his favorite movies. Okay, so who here has actually been to a Blockbuster? It's really weird because obviously I can't see you here because you're not right here. But okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do is you can use your chat section right now and let me know what was the first movie you ever rented from Blockbuster Video. I won't embarrass you or anything. I just want to know what the first movie you used that you rented from Blockbuster was. We have a few people watching, so hopefully one of them will type in quick. If that doesn't happen in a few seconds, then I can move on to the next part of the show. But for this part, I would really like to know what was the first movie that you ever rented from a Blockbuster Video. I mean, I know it could be hard to remember. If you're someone like me, it was back in 1993 or so when you were a very little kid. But I would like to know in a few seconds, what was the first movie that you ever rented from Blockbuster Video? If you could just type it into the comments or the live chat if you're watching on YouTube, that would be very, very helpful. But that is okay. Okay, so Coneheads. Coneheads, that was my first movie I ever rented from Blockbuster Video. My parents signed up in 1994. We went to New Release Wall, and I had to choose what the movie was. And it had to be G or PG, of course. And I saw the cover art, and I was drawn to it like a moth to the flame. And because I loved Dan Aykroyd at this point in my life. Absolutely loved him. And I was excited to watch it. And when I got home, and I was okay with it. Not in love with it, but okay with it. It was my first real disappointment in a film. Well, not the first one. The first real one I will talk about. Fuck it. We'll talk about it now. Clifford. Fuck this fucking terrible piece of shit film. In this movie, Martin Short plays a trash 10-year-old boy who's trying to and Charles Grodin has to deal with his bullshit. And it is such a piece of shit that this movie is fucking terrible. I have friends of mine that absolutely love this fucking trash piece of film. But it's not film, it's trash. There's a huge difference between film and trash. And this is definitely trash. And fuck you, this movie. I'm sorry, that sounds really intense and really mean, but fuck that fucking movie, okay? Even though popcorn tasted terrible when I was watching that movie. Okay, tangent over. The first visit at Blockbuster was nothing special because my parents signed up and we were in and out quick. But soon I learned that my store was massive. And there were genres I had no idea about, stuff besides for just Goonies or Nicktoons, sections called comedy, drama, foreign, employee picks, and a section I won't get into until 1996, horror, which, we'll get into later. I distinctly remember watching the movie and And it was just, and I still remember walking in with my dad's friend one night, and he says to me, Mark, you will love this movie. We were in the comedy section, and I see a tape, and it's got two older people on it. One of them I recognize, one of them I don't really recognize, and I don't care. I just want to see Billy Madison again. I tossed it back, and that film, when I finally came to watch it a few years later, became one of my absolute favorite movies from my favorite directors, the producers. Gene Wilder has always and will always be an inspiration to me as a Jew with unique hair. And Zero Mostel was about to become a hero of mine for the theater nerd that I was about to become. But this is way in the future, like way in the future, like 4 years in the future, like way in the future. But my love of the store grew and grew. And instead of trying too hard to be cool, I would rent movies with my parents' permission. I'd go deep into the comedy section and fall in love with Charlie Chaplin. And later that summer, fell deep in love with Jim Carrey. Okay, tangent time. You guys want to hear my Jim Carrey story? Okay, well, I mean, I'm going to tell you anyways because you can't stop me. Okay, so February 1994, Ace Ventura comes out, and all my friends see it. And it comes on video in June 1994. And my parents are in Costco, and I somehow convinced them to buy me a PG-13 film. Score! They want to watch it first to make sure that it's okay for me to watch. And, they do that. And they're watching the opening sequence, and they're like, oh, this is hilarious. It's easy for Mark. Great. And it's like silly and harmless from 1994 and all that great stuff. And they say, I can watch it. And I start watching it with them, and he is breaking glass, and he is saving the dog, and it's stupid and it's silly, and it makes me laugh. And then like he gets the dog back to the owner, and then she's hot, and she gives him his reward. And my parents are covering my eyes. It's the only time they have ever covered my eyes. Like my mom starts making noises to cover the sound, like anything to cover the sounds of the blowjob. And my dad is just freaked out. And eventually, they let me watch the rest of the film. And actually, they watched the rest of the film with me to make sure nothing worse happened. I don't remember if they freaked out in the sex scene or not. But I do remember that I fell in love with Jim Carrey. I grew up loving all of his movies. I even dressed up as Ace Ventura and The Mask for Halloween a couple times. And it was great. And it's so weird because a little over a year ago, I remember that I had the opportunity to watch all of his 1990. I was able to see Ace Ventura again for the first time in theaters. And it's hilarious for the most part. And then it becomes completely horrifying, and it becomes transphobic and just a mess. And don't forget, every horrible thing about that last 20 minutes is just, oh my God, it's bad. And the film has aged so terribly and made the whole theater I was in, and I incredibly uncomfortable. No laughter for the last 20 minutes of that movie. And seriously, fuck the last 20 minutes of that movie. But as much as it hurts to say to 10-year-old Mark, fuck this movie. In case you can't tell, this show will have many a tangent. Think of them like the different parts of the Blockbuster journey with me, okay? I'm going to fast forward when I fell in love with horror. And it does involve Blockbuster because pretty much everything back then always involved Blockbuster. Let's fast forward to June 1996. I was gifted the opportunity to watch my first ever R-rated film, Con Air. God, I mean, I love that movie. That gif of him, winking. Oh my God, it's the best thing ever. And it was formative and still is, unironically, a film that I absolutely love. Later that month, a movie that I want to see since December came out on video, and I was so excited, and I ordered a pizza, and my parents let me watch Scream. And I was so excited. And my parents were going to go out, and they were like, hey, watch the movie. Here's some money for pizza. Be safe and all that stuff. And I start watching the movie. And Drew Barrymore gets a phone call and make a lot of references to movies that I'll know later, but at this point I have no idea what it was. and it starts getting scary, and then the phone rings. But like the phone rings, my actual phone rings, and I freak out, and the dog freaks out more, and that's the movie, and I pick up the phone, and I say, hello, I'm convinced I'm about to die. Hey, just making sure you order the pizza. My dad says, yep, I say, The conversation goes on for a little bit, and then I end the conversation awkwardly and calm myself down, and then I press play again. And at this moment, Drew Barrymore gets murdered. And this is a spoiler for a movie that's over 20 years old. She actually gets killed and hung by her intestines. So really cool moment, really big shock. And eventually, my favorite character, Randy, gets introduced, and he is so cool. And he works at a Blockbuster, and he is funny and smarter than everyone else because he has seen things and is a movie nerd like me. And also, Jamie Kennedy vaguely looks like how I want it to look like back then. Okay, so this nerd is me. This nerd is me, and he is the hero of the movie. And I start to feel like I am part of something that is greater than me. And as a lonely 11-year-old that wanted to be an actor, this was an incredibly formative time for me. And the movie finishes, and I watched it again. The first time that I ever watched a horror, an adult movie all alone, and the first time that I watched the movie immediately afterward, that I chose to watch a movie immediately afterwards, and that immediately became a favorite of mine. That summer was incredibly formative for my love of Blockbuster. I would go to the theater camp during the day, and coming back, I would go to Blockbuster and rent a movie. And I remember asking when they were going to get the John Leguizamo classic, The Pest Inn. Yes, I am aware that I'm the only person that loved that film, and maybe one of only 5 people I know that even knows that it exists. Whatever. There's a reason that's a whole other show that's called Mark Levy recreates The Pest in its entirety, hopefully minus the racism. Yes, that movie's honestly vaguely badly racist and pretty bad in certain regards too. It doesn't matter. But you know what? I might do the whole movie without a lot of bad things in it. That's a whole different time. Okay, so I asked the guy at Blockbuster how much it will cost to buy the movie because I'm going to watch it. I might as well own it. And this is when I find out what the phrase "priced to own" meant. He said it was going to be $189.99 for the VHS. Back then, not every video was priced to own, so we didn't buy The Pest. I never owned it on VHS. Then it came out on DVD, and I purchased it on DVD, and I realized I didn't love it as much as I thought I did after seeing that film. So that I realized I didn't love that movie as much, and seeing that film more times than probably times it was shown in theaters. There comes a time in every young person's life when they are finishing high school and they start to think, what do they want to do with their life? I think you know where this is going. Okay, no, not there. I respect sex workers. I didn't get into porn or anything like that. But that's just not me. And besides, the show's called Blockbuster Guy, not. Yeah. So hold your horses. We're not quite there to Blockbuster yet, but I started applying my local Blockbuster at the age of 17. And I figured since I love it so much, I might as well work there. And I remember I took the little test on the kiosk that ranged with the 50 questions, ranged from strongly agree to strongly disagree. And I always passed the test, but I never got the call. That sucked. But this was 2003. And if I wanted to work in retail, the world was my oyster. I applied for Best Buy. I walked into my local Best Buy to buy Indiana Jones Children DVD, and so they were hiring for seasonal help. Now, as frequently as I went to Blockbuster, I somehow went to Best Buy more. Every Tuesday, I would go there and buy a DVD or two and a comedy CD. And I applied, and I got the call to take a drug test the next day. I never did drugs or anything, but I was still so scared about the drug test. So, I mean, and but I was nervous, and I drove out to a strip mall in a different part of Miami, and I walked into the center, which smelled sterile and exactly like piss at the exact same time. Waited for a few minutes, took the test, and I was afraid the poppy seed bagel I ate a few days ago would show up as drugs. It didn't. Thank fuck. I ended up getting hired around Halloween in the media department. This is like a big section. And it used to be like a huge section of the store, like half the store. It's where they would have the CDs, the DVDs, the video games, computer games, just a lot of games and movies and content like that. And now it's a small section and any Best Buy that has it. And when I got hired there, we were well underway for prep for Black Friday. Now, I feel like I don't need to set up Black Friday too much, but I feel like I should tell you this much. This was 2003, and the internet wasn't where it is today. And also, don't go out on Black Friday this year. There's a pandemic happening. Use your fucking computer. But, okay. You know those scenes in the holiday movies when they need to get the item as soon as the store opens, and it's just fucking calamity? That was Best Buy. And I had the closing shift. And it was insane. I basically came ready for war. I even brought a power bar with me. And it was my first ever Black Friday. And it lasted 14 hours because I had to clean up and resort the whole entire store to the best of my ability. And eventually, 14 hours in, my supervisor said, "Fuck it. We're done." And the store was still completely destroyed. There are so many more Best Buy stories that I have from when I worked there. Well, because I worked there both as a high schooler and as an adult here in Brooklyn. But that's a whole different time for a whole different day. Yeah, okay, so now we know where we are. I'm out of high school. I started Florida School of the Arts in Palatka, Florida in the fall of 2004. Where is Palatka, you still ask? Well, if the smell of where they make a quarter of the world's toilet paper is not enough to keep you away from there, maybe the rampant racism will do that to you for also. The thing about Palatka is that everyone was either a student or a local and never left the town because it was that part of redneck, scary Florida. The thing to do on a Friday night was go to Chili's and then go to Walmart, which was next to the Chili's. But next to the Chili's was a smaller strip mall with a GameStop, Chinese restaurant, a Radio Shack, and a Blockbuster. And I was drawn to this Blockbuster like a moth to a flame. The store was newer than mine in Miami, and smaller, but sleeker, and saw a lot of great movies. And they just started a monthly program of rentals where you pay a flat fee and rent as many movies as you want. Also, they just this is like essentially like a precursor to Movie Pass when that was a thing. And if you didn't know, Blockbuster 2004 could have actually bought Netflix. Like, this is real. They could have actually bought Netflix. They decided that Netflix was not going to be worth the money, and they did not buy Netflix. Now we could be living in a world right now where where Blockbuster is everywhere, not Netflix. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay. In October 2004, I applied, and I got hired on the spot for part-time work. I was thrilled and excited to finally have a job where I wanted to work at for so long, and I was finally an adult working at a Blockbuster Video. You know, it feels so weird to actually say something like that. Like to say that, like saying that feels insane. Writing it down on this play feels insane. But when I wrote when I wrote this play, I was also an adult working at a movie theater. But whatever, that's a whole different time and a whole different thing. And we'll talk about that later. And Blockbuster made me who I am. My manager who hired me, his name was Carlos, and is a good dude. He was an ex-Miami person, moved to Palatka, found love, and made a family, and opened a Blockbuster, and he hired me and another guy the same day. And I remember orientation when he said we can rent any 5 free movies that we want for a week, even anything that we want, even things that are not even out yet. And I got so excited because I saw they had copies of one of my favorite movies of 2004, Fahrenheit 9/11. I may have been one of the few dozen people that rented that film in Deep Red, Florida. Exciting times, y'all. Okay, so you know that whole like be kind rewind thing that you might have heard about. Well, we did have a VHS rewind at our store because in the fall of 2004, VHS was still around for longer than you would expect out of Blockbuster. DVDs, when they came in, it was super easy. You open it up to make sure it's there. You close it, put a little yellow tab on, and put it back on the shelf. For VHS, you open it up, put in the rewinder, and wait. And wait. Still waiting. And it's almost done. And wait, is okay. Shit. The tape broke. What do we do with this old and dead technology? Do we replace it? No. We just chuck it. One of my favorite things to do while working at Blockbuster was to check the Dropbox for new movies. But sometimes the most unique guest would show up. Let's call him Lewin. His name was more unique than Lewin, but we're going to just keep calling him Lewin for this play. And Lewin would have the unlimited pass for 3 movies at a time. And Lewin would show up multiple times a day. And I noticed that he was always at Blockbuster like several times a day. And I asked him once, hey, Lewin, you're watching all these movies so quickly. Here's why. Oh, no, I'm not watching them. And I said, huh? And he says, oh, I'm ripping them and selling them. This is when I noticed that nobody really liked Lewin. There is so much more to Lewin, but the thing that everyone feared is that you'd be working the Dropbox and Lewin would show up and talk your ear off of his brazen tales of thievery. Screw it. Okay, fuck it. I'll tell you what happened to Lewin. The FBI raided his house. So they did take those FBI warning stuff seriously. A few guys I hated more than this guy. This guy sucked. So I want to talk to you a little bit about my coworkers from Blockbuster. And yes, every person I mentioned here has given me permission to use their name with their first name at least. There was Carlos, who I mentioned earlier, my boss. He has the energy of, I'm tired of this shit. I don't have the energy for it. And my 18-year-old brain couldn't figure out why he was so tired. It was because he had 2 kids that were under 5 years old. But for some strange reason, he intimidated me so much. He also told me about the following part of the play when I asked him for permission. And I always feel so awkward with this whole part, but whatever. I am the best employee he ever hired. So I did grow on him. Then next, the other person they hired that day, his name is Vince. A fun guy who was in his 20s, friendly guy, out proud, through the best parties in the world. Katie, spelled Cadee, the extreme local who sounds like a waitress at a Huddle House. And she told me to put the following part. She wanted her voice to be in the play. So I'm going to do my best to do an impression of her, especially because she'll probably be watching this. Hey, y'all, welcome to Blockbuster. Let me know if you need help. She was in high school and the funniest person that I've ever met at that point in my life, and was obsessed with Napoleon Dynamite. She helped break that townie stereotype for me, which for a big city guy like me was a huge deal. There was Nikki, who was about 5'5", and I pounds of pure anger at anyone who tried to steal from the store or give her a lip. There was Linz, who was a nicer version of Nikki, and then eventually I helped get Kat, Skip, and Doug hired at the store. They were at the same school as I went to, and eventually Vince's roommate, Judy, a fun gal about town that I developed a crush on quickly. Then that fizzled fairly quickly after I had to clean her puke out of the store bathroom for the 3rd time on a Monday. On a Monday. She did apologize, though, on a Tuesday. There was also, as I forgot to mention, there was a guy named Ronnie who was the top dog in town. And when I started working there, he was the king of the Blockbuster. And he walked in with the presence of royalty of the Blockbuster. And he was the guy who sold the most monthly rental subscriptions and rewards cards. And nobody liked him because he was a cocky asshole. But he was a damn good salesperson. He always had his 20-ounce Code Red Mountain Dew by his side. And whenever he was at the register, he would always motion people with simple hand gestures, minimal small talk, and a friendly smile on the way out. He was the type of person that when he was clocked in, he ruled the store. Then, when he clocked out, his mom on her way home from her shift at Subway would pick him up and drive him home. He was also about 35 years old at the time of this, so please don't expect a child or anything like that. Okay, so I just had to set the scene for what's going to happen next. So after a few weeks of me doing okay, Carlos taught me some skills on how to go from being an okay salesperson to being a great salesperson. Skills that I use to this day whenever I have to sell things. Skills like being friendly, being open, having a sense of humor, listening, caring, everything. The next time I was at a register, I offered the guest the deal of the rewards card, and they bought it. And this happened with more and more frequency. And we had a tally board that Carlos would update daily with how we were doing with the rewards and the monthly passes. And eventually, I caught up with Ronnie with the rewards cards. He started kind of picking on me as he realized his time was nearing the end and for a new king to dethrone him. Oh, you're doing well with the rewards, but not the monthly program. You won't, he said. I am one of the most driven people that you will ever meet. If you cross me, I will get you. If you make me feel like an idiot, I will stab you and get you back. If you challenge me, I will make you eat your words. This is who I am and who I have always been, and I will always be. And I have belted out a bit, but fuck, I was 19 years old, and this fucker who smells like Slim Jims is telling me to try harder. Almost 19 years old, sad, virgin Mark is not going to take this lying down. In the next few weeks, I gained the courage to sell the monthly pass, and I listened to people and recommended the correct amount of rentals out at a time and that they would need. And guests already liked me more than Ronnie. And the day came where I beat Ronnie for sales for a week, and his voice quivered. And when he checked the board and he saw that I had more tally marks than he did, it was a fluke. I was sick and I didn't get my usual shifts this week. I was still part-time and working only 3 days a week. And then at this point, I beat him again and again and again. I guess we need more good salespeople, he eventually stated. That night, he was stuck restocking the shelves. So I have a very specific nerdery that was cultivated in that Blockbuster. Horror and How I Met Your Mother. Horror was a genre that I always appreciated in theory, but was too scared to go into. Like to watch like the vintage ones, like the 70s and 80s. And I distinctly remember when I was walking around the store one day, and a guest asked me to recommend a horror film, and I knew who was Wes Craven, and made a bold recommendation because I knew who that was, and it was the closest movie to me. And I recommended to them Last House on the Left, a highly controversial film about gang rape and murderous revenge. Vince was at work with me that day, and he said, see your horror before you recommend your horror. And I got into all of the horror that day and fell in love with Jason, Freddy, Michael, Chucky, Jigsaw, everything. I watched everything that I could. And I would never make a recommendation for a movie without being able to actually say that I've seen it or knew of it. For How I Met Your Mother, it was November 2006, and a friend-shaped size hole in my heart was strong. And I always loved that TV show, Friends. And I always believed that I would become a 20-something bopping around New York City and it and I missed seeing young, fun 20 somethings around the city. And I was on my break one day eating my Chinese food. And since the show was about to return, and I was a fan of Jason Segel, I saw the first season DVD and I put it in the DVD player, sat down, and loved the pilot. And I watched that whole season in 2 days flat. And I was hooked and I never missed an episode. Even the ones I should have missed. Like the series finale. Okay. Again, that's a whole nother play coming to like a whole nother stream for you, but it's just gonna be basically me just yelling at you for 12 hours about how much I fucking hate what they did to How I Met Your Mother's ending, and it's just, you know what? It's just, but we're making good time. The sun's still up, so I might as well talk about it for a little bit. I don't have any like real time constraints because we're fucking stuck here, so I might as well talk about it for like 5 minutes. Okay, so How I Met Your Mother was incredible. The comedy was always rich, and the heart was always there. And the show used the internet for heightening of jokes, which was not really like a thing that was readily available at that point in time. Like there was this thing called www.theslapbetcountdown.com, where it counted down till the second of the slap bet. Well, that was going to happen. And like basically what happened was when that slap bet had zero, Marshall was going to slap the shit out of Barney. And that website is still there. You seriously can go there and look it up. And the showrunners always respected the fans. This is the most important thing. The showrunners always respected the fans. And they told us in the first episode that Robin was not the mother. Great hook, amazing hook. And we finally saw that the mother at the end of season 8, which, oh my God, yes. Kristen Milioti, an amazing actress that I absolutely love from her work off Broadway and on Broadway and everything that I could see her run. She's an amazing New York actress. I'm so excited to see her. And the final season is just her and Ted narrowly missing each other. And it's just great. And then, I mean, it's not great, but like, we're getting there, And, okay, they keep missing each other. Okay, what the fuck? Okay, dramatic suspense, cool. And then eventually you realize it's the series finale, and they finally just met. And oh my God, and Ted's getting super sad about everything in his life right now, and they hit it off, and it's amazing. And then the showrunners decided to have the whole gang be super fucking sad the whole last episode because you know what? Happiness is fleeting sometimes. We've learned that this fucking year, 2020, so fucking trash hole. Oh my God. And then Robin and Barney have been together for years at this point, fall apart, and everything's just sad. And oh my God, fuck you, Sean. I can't believe you fucking did this. You killed the mother. You fucking killed the mother, you fuckers. And like we always want like the future kids to hear like, oh, dinner's ready or whatever. But no, you pieces of shit. You had to do something like this. You had to be like, oh, okay, well, we fucked up by like making Robin not the mother, but you know what? Maybe the fans were past Robin being the mother. Maybe the fans were past Robin and Ted. We wanted Ted and the mother, but no, you fuckers. All because you shot this fucking scene with the kids in season 2 where they were like, oh, go to Aunt Robin. Fuck you after the mother. Oh my God. Keep Kristen Milioti alive. And you know what? And just like fucking forget about that last scene with the kids. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to fucking do. But no, you fuckers with your fucking brilliant idea. I bet you were fucking like, horrible fuckers. Towards the end of the series, and nobody wanted like to enjoy your fucking dumbass fucking idea. Fuck you. The fans were past Ted and Robin, and you fucks had to do something like to like fuck everything up for that. Okay. Fuck you and your hatred for the fans. Okay, I just worked myself up possibly too much. I'm gonna jump my camper for 1 second because I need to calm the fuck down. And normally there's a little commercial that happens here while I do a costume change, but that's not happening. All right, so you remember that store that I mentioned in Miami? Well, I did transfer there for a few weeks during my winter break one year, and I can't believe what I'm about to say this, but the weird youthful energy of my Blockbuster in college was no. Well, that was awkward. Haha, StreamYard, yeah, I love it sometimes. Um, I realized really quickly that I actually took myself out of here and I will put myself back in because I'm back in right now. We're almost there, guys. Don't worry. So remember how like that store I mentioned in Miami? Well, I did eventually transfer there for a little bit during winter break one year, and you know that weird youthful energy I was talking about in my store in college. Well, there was nothing like that in my suburban store in Miami that I was raised in. I was 20 years old working at a Blockbuster and 15 years younger than the next youngest employee. They all seem to hate me because, and they did not want to be there, which to a naive 20-year-old was like, how can that be a thing? You work at Blockbuster. This is the greatest place on earth. But the level of meh on the store was just insane. Like, how can you not want to be there? The content, everything, the smell. And they even had boxes everywhere that was just not guest facing. It was like a sad office job, basically. And they would call the guest customers, which who says that? And I just remember that there was one night when the lady I was working with, let's just call her Karen, and I were alone, and it was New Year's Day, and we were closing, and she was just so focused on not talking to me that I decided that I should just read cover boxes because it was more inviting than talking to Karen. Needless to say, it was a very long day. I have a very, very long time working at that store, even though it was a very short amount of time. I was so well known in Palatka as Blockbuster Guy that it would turn up whether at Walmart, Chili's, or just hanging out around town. Everywhere I went, someone would say, "Hey, ain't you Blockbuster Guy?" This all boiled to like a hilarious crescendo around Halloween in my last year at Florida School of the Arts. My friends and I would do like this haunted house at this place called Ravine Garden State Park, which was a glorious hole in the ground surrounded by trees. And the year before, we were like outside, and the last year, they gave us the community center to actually build something very cool. And I was stationed in this long, dark hallway. Since I'm a big, bulky guy, they gave me a shovel, and I would like bash it onto like the walls and make loud noises and sparks and stuff like that. Kind of like if I was like a Jason coming to get you or something like that. And the last day of the 3-day haunt, I'm in my hallway, and I hear the next group coming, and the door opens, and I am there ready. And then the locals come out, and I growl, and I hit the wall with my shovel, and they say, "Hey, ain't a Blockbuster Guy?" I don't drop character as they all do indeed realize that I am Blockbuster Guy. Hey, Blockbuster Guy. Hi, Blockbuster Guy. Blockbuster Guy. Later that night, the haunted house is literally falling apart because this was a kids made haunted house, and then like walls were actually falling down, and like I actually saved my crush from a wall that was falling down. And we went back to our apartment, and we got drunk and watched Cars, and then we kissed. And it was truly an amazing night. Then she told me that she's a lesbian, and I felt like a dodo with a dumb nickname. So Blockbuster Guy had a very unique day that he will never ever forget that day. My time at Florida School of the Arts was running up, and I decided to quit Blockbuster. I was kind of burnt out in the company at this point and want to make the most of my college years before things would end. And before I was on my way to the University of Florida and then New York, and I left Blockbuster, and Carlos was sad. My best friend Vince was sadder, and Ronnie was happy to have his title. And Katie offered me a fried corn nugget, which is like the nicest thing ever. And my time my time was at an end at Blockbuster, and I was sad to say bye to everyone. And I visited the one by UF Off-Field, mainly focused on learning and getting out of games as quick as possible, so I can get to New York. And around this time, I visited my parents' house. I noticed that half of the massive Blockbuster was gone. And Netflix is really becoming something. Redbox is popular at the time. And eventually, that half became fully gone. And my local Blockbuster had so many memories in was gone. And then more and more Blockbusters would turn away. And then the one that I found when I moved to New York and Queens quickly posted a closing sign shortly after I found it. Eventually, all my Blockbusters were gone, and all I had were memories. You know, I look back at my time at Blockbuster as an employee and as a patron in a pretty good light, honestly. The job was a job. It wasn't the best paid job I ever had. Actually, honestly, it was like one of the worst paid jobs I've ever had. But I was happy, which is huge. My parents always told me to do things that make you happy. And at that point in my life, in my maturity, that's what I needed to make me happy. As a patron, I loved it. Like, I love that I can stumble into a store and stumble upon new films and filmmakers and a chance for me to be wowed by them. I mean, I still can do that with Netflix and Hulu and other streaming services, but it was like so different back then. You would get in your car, you would turn it on, drive down to the local Blockbuster, say hi to the cashier, walk the aisles, choose your movie, pay for the movie, grab your popcorn, all that stuff, get home, put in the DVD player, and then you learn that Meet the Spartans is terrible. Or you would learn how deep your love of Martin Scorsese movies goes. Something like that, anything like that. And sure, my big thing in life will always be, how can I be happy and make people that I care about happy? Sure, movies are an escape for me, and to be honest, many people, but I am okay with it. Honestly, I'm good with it. I haven't had the same life as many of my friends and peers, but I've made my own path, and that makes me who I am. And where am I? I technically work for the Alamo Draft House, an awesome dining movie theater that is all about showing badass movies, great beer, and giving you a great experience. And since we show unique stuff when we're open, I can still recommend great movies. Thank you guys so much for attending today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you to Kristen and Adam. Adam, I'm sorry I wasn't able to implement all the tech because this is actually a very tech-heavy show. There's a lot of posters behind me on screen, stuff like that, and some very funny visual gags too. Hopefully the show will be up and running in a theater soon once that's allowed in New York. We'll be hopefully touring soon after that. And all that stuff. I do want to go finish the show properly as I normally do for MarkTalk. I do want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Of course, you want to donate to this performance. Venmo at our Mark Dash, Cash App, which is time for money symbol Mark Levy 85, PayPal Mark L820. No matter what, thank you guys. I know we're all going through all this shit together. So coming up tomorrow, I've got a new episode of Mark Meets World with Josh Consalvo, and the episode's Kids Club. It'll be great. On Wednesday, we are actually having no episode. Things fell through, but that is okay. It is the holidays. Things are kind of weird. But Thursday, I'm making it up for you guys. I'm having a Thanksgiving food Brant Steel tournament, which I'm very, very excited. I think I got like 15 foods already that have been submitted, and I'm really excited to see how they do. I always cheer for the green bean casserole myself, but we'll see how that goes. And on Friday, we have a normal Brant Steel. Hopefully, that'll be cast before Wednesday is over. But I thank you guys so much for tuning in today. If you want to tweet at me at MarkLevy85. Hope you guys enjoy this. Normally, I am off book to play and to play. We'll see how it is. But it felt good to do this for the first time in like 5 months. Because I did this is my fourth time ever doing it online. First time without like any real tech. Normally my stage manager and designer Adam is like 3 miles away, does it all like on his computer while I do it from here in my apartment. But I thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys live on Wednesday, and I'm on Thursday. But yeah, have a good day, guys.